What's up, family? So, California Governor Gavin Newsom just tried to make a national statement, and he gathered his supporters, summoned the press, and declared political war on Texas. But before we can even finish his speech, federal agents showed up uninvited and turned his big moment into a national spectacle. And ICE agents began arresting illegal immigrants right outside of the venue. Cameras were rolling, supporters watched, and Gavin Newsom completely blindsided. And this wasn't just a press conference, it was a full blown political stunt. Newsom wanted to show he's ready to fight Republican redistricting by redrawing California's congressional map. But what he didn't expect was for the entire operation to be hijacked by federal enforcement right on his own doorstep. So, what really happened that day? Was this bold move to protect democracy or a desperate campaign to play for 2028? And why did ICE pick that exact moment to strike? So, in today's video, we'll be breaking down the truth behind Newsom's redistricting power grab, the ICE operation that stole the show, and what this tells us about the future of national politics. And from California to Texas to DC, the story is bigger than you think, and it could reshape the balance of power headed into the next two elections. But let's check out this campaign that I feel as though is Gavin Newsom's pitch for running for 2028 presidential race. Check it out.
It is a five-alarm fire for democracy in the United States of America. Donald Trump, who's trying to light a torch on democracy, continue to try to rig the election. His agenda is failing. This presidency is failing. He knows the headwinds in a midterm. Now he's dialing up for seats. He called Greg Abbott, who doesn't have the courage, doesn't have the conscience, and he has rolled over and he said, yes, sir, and. So we have got to step up. We tried to play by a higher set of standards and rules with our independent redistricting, and we believe in that. We are talking about emergency measures to respond to what's happening in Texas, and we will nullify what happens in Texas. We will pick up 5 seats with the consent of the people, and that's the difference between the approach we're taking and the approach they're taking. There are no rules for Donald Trump. And this is a serious moment in American history. And so we are here to meet this moment head on. We will not be complicit.
All righty. So let's break this down. Texas Republicans just redrew their political maps. And it's called redistricting. Every 10 years, states get to redraw those lines based on the census. And the goal, win more seats in Congress for your side. And Texas did it to protect their Republican stronghold. And now Gavin Newsom over in California is throwing a political tantrum, saying he's going to fight back with his own redistricting push. And he's even calling it Liberation Day, like he's freeing people from oppression. But let's be honest, this isn't about saving democracy. This is about stacking the deck, boosting his political power, and collecting emails for his 2028 presidential run. So here's the first problem for Newsom. California already had something called an independent redistricting commission. And it's supposed to be a group of regular people who draw the maps so politicians can't cheat the system. Sounds fair, right? But in reality, those regular people are chosen in a way that still leans heavily Democrat. So even without Newsom touching it, the maps already tilt his way. Now he wants to take over the process mid-game. That's like playing basketball with a ref who's already on your side and still trying to change the rules halfway, right? And taking it a step further, I find it very, very funny when it comes to this whole play of Gavin Newsom. Because the funniest part about it is they accuse Trump of trying to rig the system, and the Democrats are projecting hard. Yet they are the ones who have gerrymandered blue states and built entire districts based on inflated population numbers that include illegal immigrants. Now, Newsom wants to hold a special election to redraw maps that are already drawn by a Democrat leaning independent commission. And if he succeeds, great. he might add a few seats. But what happened when Republican states retaliate with their own redistricting efforts? What happens if Trump gets his way and excludes non-citizens from a census count? That would hit California hard. And ironically, it could make Newsom's entire campaign irrelevant. And there's also the legal factor, because any new maps will still have to survive court challenges. So even if they push this through, there's a good chance the courts strike it down. And that would be a major embarrassment. Because Politico even said, you guys can go check out the article, Newsom is betting his political future on this. And they're right. If it fails, it will be a humiliating loss. And let's not pretend this is all about protecting democracy. This is about data. It's about email lists. Just look at the campaign site in itself. When you sign up to fight election rigging, you're consenting to receive texts and donation messages from Gavin Newsom's team. And this is a campaign tool disguised as a reform movement, right? So let's say California gained 5 seats. What happens when Iowa, Florida, or even Indiana do the same? Republicans control more states. And if we get into a tit for tat redistricting war, Republicans win by default. And even if the Supreme Court overturns racial gerrymandering protections in the Voting Rights Act, the Democrat strategy completely collapses. That's the real reason they're panicking. Newsom's whole press conference was theater, and it got derailed by a very, very real ICE operation that couldn't have been better timed. And his response, calling it authoritarian and sick, was just more performance on my end. Because when you really think about it, and it comes to ICE, um, ICE basically arresting illegal immigrants, which California, let alone Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, seems to protect illegal citizens, illegal immigrants that are not citizens, and there are illegal citizens looking as though they are citizens, having an entitlement of what actual legal citizens have, and that's how they are treating these illegal immigrants. So I want you guys to check
He's
out the
going to
next clip.
lose the midterms.
This is the press conference.
He knows de facto his presidency ends in 17 months when Speaker Jeffries is back in office. He knows it. Why else? Why else would you try to rig the system? Why else would you make the phone call? He's a failed president. Who else sends ICE same time having a conversation like this? Someone who's weak. Someone who's broken. Someone whose weakness is masquerading as strength.
Well, there you have it. Now I want you guys to check out this other clip of ICE. Sorry for the family. That's illegal. Getting arrested.
All of you are fucking cowards.
Well done, gentlemen. Well done.
Greg, Mr. Goyino from Fox 11. Can I get a quick comment?
Hey, what's going on here?
How you doing? What happened?
We're here making Los Angeles a safer place. Since we won't have politicians that'll do that, we do that ourselves. So that's what we're here today. As you can see, already making it a safer place. We're glad to be here. Not going anywhere.
And the governor's inside right there.
I don't know where he's at.
He's about 100 feet behind us. Do you have any comment from him or anything?
Again,
any message?
We're making Los Angeles and California a safer place. We're going to continue to do that, and they can take that one to the bank and cash it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
There's a saying my grandfather used to say, or used to use. If you bend the rules for someone you like, don't cry when the rules mean nothing for someone you don't. And that's exactly what's at stake here. We're not talking about all immigrants, I should say. We're talking about legal immigrants, but we're not talking about all immigrants. We are not talking about people who came here legally, went through the process and respected the system. We're talking about illegal immigrants, people who knowingly broke federal law to enter or stay in this country. And when ICE or Border Patrol acts on that, they're not being mean or political. They're doing their job, simply. That's why he was like, I have no clue about Gavin Newsom. The law doesn't care about your feelings, and frankly, that's how it should be. What happened outside Newsom's press conference was no accident. This wasn't a random sweep. Federal agents knew who they were after, and they used the opportunity to make a point. Sanctuary cities might try to shield illegal immigrants from local arrest, but they cannot stop the federal government from enforcing federal law. And it's not chaos, it's jurisdiction. And the Constitution lays that out plain as day. So whether you agree with the current immigration laws or not, they are still the law until Congress changes them. And ignoring them just because it's politically convenient isn't leadership, it's negligence. And here's the thing people don't like to admit. Letting illegal immigration slide doesn't just hurt Americans, it hurts legal immigrants the most. The ones who waited in line, paid the fees, did the interviews, learned the language, and built their life here the right way. By protecting those who break the law, you cheapen the sacrifice of those who followed it. And you create two classes of immigrants, one who respects the process and one who skips the process. And the second group gets rewarded with political cover. That's not justice, that's favoritism disguised as compassion. And if you don't believe me, I want you guys to check out this last clip in regards of Karen Bass having a hissy fit.
Not believe that this just happened to be a coincidence.
There is no way this was a coincidence. This was widely publicized that the governor and many of our other elected officials were having a press conference here to talk about redistricting, and they decided they were going to come and thumb their nose in front of the governor's face. Why would you do that? That is unbelievably disrespectful. It's a provocative act. They're talking about disorder in Los Angeles, and they are the source of the disorder in Los Angeles right now. This is just completely unacceptable. This is a administration, this is a Customs and Border Patrol that has gone amok. This absolutely has to stop. There was no danger here. There was no need to detain anyone here. And there was certainly no need to have a provocative act right here where the governor is having a press conference.
And this is what I mean projection. She's talking about how they're talking about disorder in Los Angeles, but she's condoning in order not being placed, because what happens when you enforce the law, there's law and order that takes place. But if you don't want to enforce the law, then that means there can't be order and orderly conduct, because you are looking in regards of utilizing the loopholes to basically protect illegals coming into the country disrespectfully. Now, some folks will say, but it's cruel to deport someone who's been here for years. And I get it. There's a human side to every story. But we have to look at the bigger picture. If the rule is once you've been here long enough, you get to stay, then what's to stop millions from coming illegally? I'll wait. You can't run a country on loopholes. Real compassion means fixing the system so it works fairly, not ignoring the system entirely. Enforce the law now, debate changes to the law later, and that's the adult way to run a country. Bottom line, the right thing to do here is simple. Stand with the rule of law. Stand with a system that treats everyone by the same standard, no matter how emotional the circumstances. Because if we let political theater override legal authority, we're not protecting anyone. We're just eroding the foundation of the country. So here's my challenge that I would say to Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. If you believe in border fairness in a nation that means what it says, then you can't oppose the enforcement of immigration law just because the cameras make it look uncomfortable. That's not leadership. That's weakness in my eyes. And when you look at all of these things, right? When it came to this whole, ICE moment and things like that, right? You have to really look at the play here. And the play is ICE showing up in the middle of his show, pulled the curtain back for everyone to see. If you make your city a sanctuary for illegal activity, don't cry foul when the law comes knocking. That's not oppression, that's accountability. And for the simple fact is, with the census, right? And the real power gain of all of this, we know that the census does America's head count every 10 years, which I believe is too long. But this decides how many seats each state gets in Congress and how much federal money they get. It all comes down to power and money. And right now, the census counts everyone: citizens, legal residents, and yes, even people here illegally. I'm going to say it again. And that inflates the number for states like California, giving them more political power and more money. So if they have more money, then it is it's no wonder where the money's coming from when they're sitting here supporting illegal immigrants and paying for them for housing and giving away cards and stuff like that, being disrespectful to the taxpayers. And also already been showing the legal immigrants and American citizens that they don't care about their safety. So the whole thing is Trump's idea, which is to count only U.S. citizens for political representation. If that happens, California loses seats and billions in funding. And suddenly, Newsom's entire redistricting stunt becomes meaningless. So, if you agree with the representation should be based on citizenship and not political games, hit the subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this video so more people know the truth behind the headlines, because the fight whoever counts in America is here. And we can't afford to sit on the sidelines, right? So on that note, family, I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Spread that peace, love, and positivity. Peace.